Okay, hello everyone. This is our second week. My name is Joshua, and then today I'm using pin mic. I hope that you could get a better audio quality. So before we move on, let me just briefly recap what we have talked about last week. Yeah. So can you see the screen? This is a small website I made with the contents. So let me just briefly revisit, where we ended last week. First week established two foundational ideas. First, culture is like water. It shapes everything about us without our knowing. Yeah. Second, the goal of cultural anthropology for ministry is not collecting fact, is developing depths of understanding, moving from what to why. You see, this is screen. Yep. What does culture matters for ministry? So what? Yeah. Um, if culture is the water we swim in, what happens the moment we encounter different water or we meet the fishes who seems in another environment or area? Think about your own experience. Yeah. Have you ever walked into a home where food was eaten with hands and felt uh, a, a flinch or discomfort? Or have you ever watched someone pray in posture unfamiliar to you and felt something was off? Yeah. Or have you ever been in a church service structured so differently from yours that you couldn't settle? So if you come to Korea and visit Korean churches and attend our worship service, you may feel quite strange or feel something not comfortable sometimes. Yeah. So it's not about what is Christianity, what is the gospel, what the Bible says. It's all about culture we are in. Yeah. So each culture has their own particular things and situations and context, meanings, values, and such, and so on. So first one, the gospel travels through culture. That's why we need to understand it. There is no culture-free gospel delivery. This is what I want to emphasize. And then second, what feels normal may be culture, not scripture. As a missionary who served in Indonesia, I have to update and then need to understand not about the Indonesian people. I realized that I need to realize what type of lens I'm using, to read and to understand and to think or to react. So, for instance, the way you pray, preach, or organize a church carries cultural assumption. I mentioned about the Bible studies, something like that. This is worth examining. Cultural practices are often invisible to those inside them. Yeah. And the third, your audience reads through their lens, not yours. Okay, among Koreans, the same ethnicity, usually no problems. It will not occur. But as a missionary and then local people I serve, between two groups, it happens. Yeah. They read all the things, appearance, my speech, what I'm wearing. They read all those things with their own lens. It means they interpreted all the symbols, all the appearances with their quote. Yeah. So what seems clear to you may feel foreign to your listeners. Communication is not just the one you say. Yeah, for instance, we are communicating now, you and me, by using English. English is not my mother language. English, yeah, you, maybe you too, yeah? You have your own mother language. But I have to speak in English, so uh, um, what I want to say is very limited because of my English is not so fluent. Yeah. So and then as a Korean, very hard to find the exact word what I want to say in Korean, yeah. And then when I need to translate into English, yeah. So the kind of things that happen in communicational ways. And the fourth, cultural blindness has caused real harm. Yeah, it's not just about, oh, it is like this and that, yeah, and then so different between this and that. Yeah, it provokes sometimes conflict, the feelings that make troubles. Yeah. Imposing one culture's Christianity on another people is not the gospel. So the Western missionaries in colonialism, in the history, uh, they have made so many mistakes unconsciously. This is happening also by Korean missionaries. This is what I'm thinking. Yeah. So mission history shows that cultural ignorance can produce colonial Christianity, not kingdom transformation. So cultural ignorance is very important, becomes a stumbling block. So now we borrow or use the concept or tools from cultural anthropology. What is cultural anthropology? Cultural anthropology is the academic study of human cultures. It's all about human cultures. Human beings, human beings are cultural beings. So what is culture? Not about this kind of clothes, hair, or tools, or the house, yeah, or invisible things, yeah, are included in culture. Their beliefs, values, what is good, what is bad, what is allowed, what is not, yeah, practices, symbols, and social structures. For missionaries and pastors, it means developing one key habit that is moving from what to why. Yeah. What is happening? Yes, on the surface, describing behaviors, customs, and practice without interpreting their meaning. The tourist lens. So, as a missionary, although we are foreigners to them, we need to try to mingle with them. Yeah. So taking up classes, yeah, classes of tourists, and then we go in, and then we try to understand their culture from insider's view. Why do people do this? This is our question. Understanding meaning, motivation, and worldview behind behaviors. So the anthropologist lens, and the missionary's essential skill, that is. So we said we are missionary or we are pastors, but what I want to ask you is to be an anthropologist in that sense. As an example, I showed you two pictures, the K-pop cover dance team. Two groups, same dance, very different meanings. Vietnamese girls, I hope you remember the picture, yeah. K-pop cover dance in a public space, cultural familiar activity to Koreans, to Vietnamese, to Indonesians. No significant, oops, why is not moving? Yeah, what is this? Okay, close. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Dancing is expressive, recreational, and community building for Koreans and for them. But in Indonesian context, especially as a Muslim girls in hijab performing K-pop in public. Yeah, some K-pop cover dance teams in Indonesia, figures wearing hijab, and then they perform K-pop cover dance on the stage. This is not a neutral act for them. For Koreans, it's okay, no problem. But for Indonesians, especially Muslims, Muslim girls show up on the stage with such costumes, revealing her bodies, then no jilbab, no hijab, or sometimes wearing hijab. It's still a of a social conflict. It sparked a social and religious conflict. So what does it mean? Yeah, are, are they neglecting their religious belief? Are they leaving, yeah, from Islam, or are there some other, uh, you know, meanings behind it? So negotiating identity, religion, globalization, and pure belonging simultaneously, all these things are working together behind the scene. Okay. This was the last we were talking about. Yeah. When I encounter a cultural practice I don't understand, what is my first instinct? Yeah. When I visit Cambodia, even Europe, Africa, when I meet those people, yeah, what was my first instinct? Yeah, so strange, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes feels I make a judgment by myself. Yeah, and then I, I I read and decode all what I am seeing, yeah, about them. Yeah. So the second way is about yeah, this one. Yeah, can you see? Okay. Invisible filter. We are going to talk about ethnocentrism and the fragmentation of culture for this session. Yeah. So culture is like water, invisible and formative. Yeah. Today, what happens when a fish from one river judges another river? Yeah. Okay, let's move. Oh, yeah. Oh, I still need some time to conduct this Zoom operation. Okay, before we begin, well, we already shared this one. Today, ethnocentrism, how it works in mission. I will introduce three layers of its operation, field cases, and then a new term, not just the ethnicity. It is neo-ethnicity. And then fragmentation of culture today. Yeah? Okay, what is ethnocentrism? Maybe you may heard about this word. The tendency to view your own cultural group as center and to use your own cultural standards as the measure of everything. So when I moved to Indonesia, without uh, intention, I found myself that I'm judging everything what I experience and what I see. Yeah. Critical insight is you do not have to be arrogant to be ethnocentric. You can be still loving, humble, and deeply committed to serve others and still be deeply ethnocentric. This is my problem, and it could be your problem, yeah, in your ministry. Because ethnocentrism is not a character flaw. It is a cultural default. We all have it. Every culture has it. Because this is culture. So you remember I said the human being, but cultural being. What does it mean, cultural being? Uh, Culture is a very common word, but we need to know that each culture has its own characteristics. And under it, we have been educated to behave, to feel, to judge, to have such values in a particular ways. So including you and me, all the people around the world, because they are human beings, they are surrounded by their own culture. Yeah, this picture shows well about what is ethnocentrism, or how is ethnocentrism is working in each person. This is me and you, yeah. But we imagine we are like this lion. But in fact, in reality, we are just a small cat. Yeah. But we behave we are a lion. Yeah. This is ethnocentrism because our culture become a center in our everything. So based on our culture, we read others. So good or bad, that's not the problem. We need to recognize that this kind of system is working in us, everyone. Okay, let's move on. So it operates at three levels: theological level, methodological, behavior. Why can't they be on time? So first time when I had the opportunity to conduct a meeting in Indonesia, I have to the lead a group. The problem is punctuality of time. So from my side, I was judging them because they are not on time. Yeah? So judging observable behavior through your own cultural norms, I don't know where about India, how it works now. But I believe because every nation, every culture, is changing with modernization, industrialization, and globalization. Yeah, so it changes very slowly, but yeah, it change our concept, our attitude, or perception, and how to be about a time also. Yeah. So methodological, our method is the right method. We do not say this is the right method, but it comes out naturally from my saying, from my behavior, my appearance, even in ministry. Treating your ministry approach as culturally natural. Yeah. Korean text-based discipleship applied universally. So when I served a university student in 2000, yeah, I applied what I used to do in my ministry in Korea, Korean university student Christians. So I used to teach. Teaching means there's a textbook, reading books, and materials. So my students, they have to read all the scriptures, those materials before they come in. Yeah. And then there is a blackboard, whiteboard, and I write it down something, yeah, important things, and then communicating. Yeah, such things happen. This is teaching and learning, very text-based. Yeah. So this was applied in Indonesia to Indonesian students, but I failed. Yeah, I have to admit this one. And then third one is theological. This is the biblical way. We do not say this is biblical, just not. Yeah? But it often happens, yeah? without without realizing what I'm saying. Yeah? Confusing a culturally specific form of Christianity with the gospel itself, most dangerous, hardest to see when we build a church with local people, and then the design, yeah, interior, it reflects what we have done in Korea. So it might happen in your ministry also by yourself. Let me just introduce you a new term, Koreanism. That was also my topic in research. A case study in methodological ethnocentrism. I put this term to point out particular Korean missionaries' characteristics in cultural ways. That is Koreanism. What is Koreanism? The unconscious transference of Korean culture values, church models, and social assumption into cross-cultural ministry. That is really happening. Treating them as if they were culturally neutral or universally valid and even biblical. This is not a critique of Korean Christianity. It is an observation about how any culture's formation shapes ministry, invisible and automatically. So for you and for me, what is pastor? Who is pastor? was a bit different, our perception. My attitude to pastor, if someone introduces himself, oh, I'm a pastor, then my attitude will be changed. It somehow reflect what Koreans do usually to pastors. What about your country? What about in Indonesia? I was so surprised that pastor in Indonesian church was not like Korean pastors in Korean church. Quite difficult to explain. Yeah, but I sensed it when uh, when I was in Korea. I didn't feel anything. Yeah, yeah. But when I moved to Korea in Indonesia, when I attended the local churches, then I was so shocked. Yeah, Korean pastor has a lot of the authority and the power and the leadership, but in Indonesia it's quite different. So what are the characteristics of Korean Christians? First, monoethnic identity. This is our limitation. Limited experience of cultural diversity on cultural lens perceived as normal. Korea is not like India or Indonesia. We have only one race, one ethnicity, one language. Though each province has their own characteristics, yeah, but not like Indonesia, more than 300 languages. Yeah, that is one option among many. Yeah. Second, our Korean characteristics is compressed modernization in 15 years. Yeah, in our modern history. Modernization has been rapidly, affected, yeah, the Korean society, and economically, we experience the big, growth. So in Korean churchy or Korean Christians, this concept, blessing, growing in numbers, yeah, and blessed in, earning more money is are already implanted with the word success. Third, material blessing narrative. This is quite emphasized until now. Yeah, economic growth, church growth, and God's blessing. They do not say this is church growth is God's blessing, but they never say verbally. But when you observe sermons or attitude or or words or the sayings comes out from the pastors or Korean Christians, you could get those words very often used. Fourth, U.S.-Korea alliance because of Korean War, yeah, and developmentalism, yeah, historical debt to U.S. So Korean churches denominations are very close to U.S. Protestant, most of Korean pastors, after finish, MDiv, their further studies will be done in the U.S. Yeah. Unconsciously reproduces U.S.-centered power structure. Yeah, this is from Juhi Judy Han. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move. This is our Koreanism, our particular characteristics of in Korean churches and Korean Christians. This is working as ethnocentrism in Korean Christians and churches. So invisible export, it happens. What gets transferred without knowing, First, hierarchical pastor-centered leadership. Later you read this one. Text-based graduated discipleship. All things are, study, reading. That is the way of learning. Third, growth and success as ministry standard. Yeah, church growth, growing in numbers. Yeah. And then, church buildings. Yeah. These are the measurable things and then count it as a blessing. Fourth, direct communication in high context churches. Many of Koreans, live in a low context society. Today, what I mean, yeah. So Korean society has been changed, low context, directly speak, directly express my thought, if I not feel so comfortable, yeah, it is expressed outwardly. So it makes a trouble especially in high context society like Indonesia. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. High context culture meets direct confrontation. What's the problem? What happened? A Korean missionary in Indonesia ran a discipleship training program. He was faithful and dedicated, correcting disciples, pushing for growth, doing everything right by his own standard. One day, one of his disciples came to the office with a knife. No words. The young man came to the Korean missionary, and he slammed the desk with the knife. Boop. And then no words. He went back. He walked it out. So the missionary was so shocked at what happened. So something discomfort. Yeah, he felt something very discomfort. He thought he was humiliated by the Korean missionary, but Korean missionary never imagined the kind of things have been transferred by himself. Yeah. So we need to be careful when we are serving in high context of society. What is high context? Yeah. In a high context of society, shame-based culture. Oops, sorry. Yeah. It's a shame-based culture. Public correction from an authority figure does not produce growth. It produces humiliation. What does it mean? What about in your culture? This was not a problem of bad missionary. This was a good missionary with a blind spot. He didn't know well about the local culture. He didn't know well about what it means in a high culture. His ethnocentrism was unconscious and costly. Yeah. Let's move. Yeah. Okay. The other things, worship transplant scenario. Yeah. A missionary plants a church in a relational high context community. He structures a weekly service, fixed start time, announcement, sermon, closing prayer. The program runs cleanly. Attendance is steady. The missionary report home things are going well. We already planted one church and another church will coming soon. But the local believers are quietly uncomfortable with the rigid structure and say nothing. Yeah, say nothing is high context. Because in a high context culture, you do not tell the leader directly that something is wrong. But I think maybe many of messages have been, transferred to the missionary, but the missionary didn't recognize all those things because it was a high context, yeah, not directly. So what the missionary sees, faithful attendance, ordered worship, gospel proclaimed, what is actually happening. Quiet discomfort, unnamed. Compliance, not flourishing. Ethnocentrism is taken for success. So what should we do, especially when we do a ministry in cross-cultural ways? A slow reaction posture is required. First, ask, yeah? Don't assume. When you see something unfamiliar, ask before you interpret. Yeah? Observe first. Watch carefully before drawing conclusion. Yeah? Be aware. Notice that you're bringing a lens. Your lens is not neutral. React slowly. your first reaction to cultural difference is almost always ethnocentric. So I had to remind myself first here, before I make any judgment, before I felt something, oh, this I'm not so comfortable yet with that, or why is this young students behaving like that? Before I think and then move on, I try to stop myself. So react slowly and later ask to the local people, and then share my experience, and then let they teach me. So there is no right culture and wrong culture. There are different cultures, each with its own wisdom and distortion, including yours. What exactly are we serving? Rethinking culture in the modern world. So the answer is more complex than you might think. Cultural anthropology usually focuses on a tribe, a small group of village people far from my place. It used to be in that way. But nowadays, I want to say this one, neo-ethnicity. What does it mean? Culture fractures within groups. Urbanization, class, degeneration create a new cultural world within one ethnicity. Same ethnicity, but different realities. It is now happening, I believe in your culture, in your area is also happening. So anthropological tools are still needed, Neo-ethnicity, new forms of cultural identity that emerge within a single ethnic group through urbanization, class differentiation, and generational changes. Let me introduce more, Okay, let's move quick. How culture fractures within a group now? It's not about that tribe and my tribe, my ethnicity and this ethnicity. So it still exists in this world, But within my boundary, cultural boundary, among Koreans, now it is happening, more fragmented. Geography, okay. Urban, rural. A church planter in Yogyakarta navigates a completely different cultural world than a pastor in rural Java. Even in Indonesia, that was happening, in city I served, that is Yogyakarta. Some country, different assumptions about time, authority, and community, but it happens in our group. Why I'm saying this one? Yogyakarta is very unique city in Indonesia. About 400,000 students live in that city. Yogyakarta is educational city, so all the students come from, over Indonesia for their higher education, university, college. So when you go out in city Jogja, on the street, most of them are college students. So it shapes a very unique culture of city, Yogyakarta. So just imagine, village believers in East Java, in Indonesia, and Yogyakarta. It's quite different. And then second, social class, higher educated, in my case in Yogyakarta, and traditionally situated. Education, these young students, who are taking, university education, and then far from away from their hometown, they live alone in Jogja and with younger people. It created a new culture. So education produces real cultural differences in Indonesia. A university-educated believer in Yogyakarta navigate different values than their parents or siblings who remained in their home village. So more educated, create new culture among themselves. And generation gap, digital generation and not elder. Yogyakarta's church is shaped heavily by university students. So if you go to church in Yogyakarta, I was so shocked, because among congregation, so so many are university students, not the elder people, or the people. They are digitally connected, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, internet, globally curious, Muslim or non-Muslim Christians, it doesn't matter. They are so curious to know more about how this world is going, and culturally distinct. They why some even Muslim girls, are involved in K-pop culture. This is not merely an age gap, Indonesian students from other regions report genuine culture shock upon arriving in the city. Well, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Indonesian students who came to Yogyakarta from other province in Indonesia. This is Indonesia, they're Indonesian, but this student was so surprised or even experienced cultural shock in Yogyakarta that is happening. And then fastly, they are so, accustomed to the new culture and now, become to enjoy student culture. Okay, let's move. Quick. Yeah. So what is happening in our area? The non-contemporaneity of the contemporary. What does it mean? Or we all inhabit the same chronological moment in, for instance, Seoul, in year 2026. The words we actually experience are not the same. Oh, really? Some live within high-tech, globally connected realities. Others within traditional structures and local networks. It's not talking about Indonesian people and Korean people who live in megacity Seoul. The calendar is shared, but the era each person inhabits is not. Just let me briefly tell you what is happening in Korea. This is city Seoul, but certain district, they have their own culture, because their income or their job are so different, high level. In another city, it also has a very own characteristics because this city residents, most of them, many of them, are working in Samsung company or LG or SK Hynix. These companies are the big mega company in Korean church, in Korean society. So their salary is very, very high. More than 2 or 3 times higher than other jobs. So many of them are working there and live in the city, so they by themselves, create their way of life, So we are same Koreans, but different values and different thinking. So what about your hometown or in your ministry? The people in your congregation share a time and place, but not necessarily a culture word. Generation, class, and geography create genuinely different lived realities. Even within a single community, that is happening today in our modern world. For ministry, knowing your community is never finished. The 22 years old digital native beside the 60-year-old elder are not just the different ages. They are different cultural world requiring different modes of engagement. That's why, we are talking about cultural anthropology, ethnocentrism. We are not talking about, tribe far away from our place. Yeah, this picture I just prepared to show you about what's going on in Korea. This is AI generated picture, so it's no problem, about copyright license. So do you see this one? Hair roll. I don't know in your country, the Indian ladies, use this hair roll to make more volume on hair. Yeah. But this is happening. Yeah, since after 25 years, my ministry in Indonesia and Malaysia, when I came back to Korea, and I was also shocked when I the see this kind of scenes in the public places. What is it? The shift. What was once considered, considered normal, appearing in public with hair rolls is now unremarkable among younger Korean women. Not all Korean women, yeah, among young ladies or teenagers. This kind of makeup, whatever, yeah, they finish it before they uh, go out. I mean, oh no, I mean in their home, they morning, yeah, when they go out, they have to prepare all the makeup and all the things, and then yeah, go to the street. But this, say hanging on the forehead, they're using in the bus, a train, yeah. And then makeup is also, they do in public places. So it becomes an issue among Korean society, among Korean people. Some people say, "Wow, it's so careless nowadays. Young girls, teenagers, they they do not know the shame things, yeah." And then they are judged. Oh, so careless. Well, this is about contested value. The older generation reads public grooming as a failure of social propriety. Do you understand? How do you see this picture here? But the younger generation reframes the same space. I only need to look good for the people I'm going to meet. Oh, these people, I don't care what they think about me, about what I'm doing. I don't care. I have no relation to them. Yeah. What I need is, I just need to, make up or make it more, for my appearance, yeah, hair. Yeah. The younger generation reframes, yeah. I only need to look good for the people I'm going to meet, not for strangers. Yeah. Why it matters? This is not a fashion trend. This reconfiguration of gaze. Yeah. Whose eyes matter and when? Yeah. It is changing. Not to all, yeah. All the generations, including me, I feel still uncomfortable just seeing this kind of scenes, yeah, in the public places, yeah. But they are different. They have different concept. What is shame? Yeah, this is also changing in Korean society. What triggers it? Oh, this triggers me, so I feel, wow. What is she doing? Yeah. What about her parents? Yeah. Her parents doesn't say anything. Yeah. In a public space, what is public space? We change our attitude, depends on the space and time, As a backstage, not a stage, yeah. So the New York Times once, dealt with this issue in Korea. The generational fault line. Yeah. Oh. New York Times identified hair rollers as a generational marker in Korea. What could be a marker in your country? Not a symbol of carelessness, to me, it's a kind of symbol of carelessness. But for these people, not. For me, this kind of space and time, I need to modest myself properly. But for them, no, this is different. But of a generation that has quietly renegotiated the terms of social performances. This is happening. So this is why I say this is neo-ethnicity. So when we meet another ethnicity, what is working between myself and them? So it must be working in my ethnicity also to this kind of group. Yeah. So I need to remind myself that these teenagers or youngers are another tribe, neo-ethnicity. It seems we speak in Korean, but different languages, different meaning. Time and spaces have a different meaning to both individually. This is what I want to emphasize. Okay, see, it's going to finish. Same in a different culture word, yeah. And then what about in Indonesian and Korean? A different cultural word where we immediately understand. But even in our ethnicity, same people, it happening. Same passport, language family, even among Christians, yeah. Christian faith, but different values, communication style, authority, church expectations, all are different. Church, a mega church in city Seoul, and a small church in a rural in Korea. They have different values, communication style, authority. So anthropological tools of this course are not only for missionaries crossing national borders, they are for every pastor and minister who pays close attention to the people actually in front of them. Yeah, session summary. Okay, where do I see my own ethnocentrism? Do you really understand your culture, your own lens? Who are the people actually in front of me? Are they one cultural group, or are there hidden divisions along lines of generation, class, urban, rural experience you haven't yet named? Well, what am I swimming in right now? Yeah, these are the session 1. Yeah, okay. Let's take a short break, and we continue. Thank you.